Hi, this is Phyllis Davidson. I'm here with Ofer Kahane. Ofer is an entrepreneur, actually a serial entrepreneur, he tells me, and his latest venture is around big data, and I'm just going to be talking to him today a little bit about the opportunity. So welcome, Ofer. Thanks for joining me
Thanks for having
in
me here.
the Big Couch booth, which isn't so big. So tell me something. Tell me a little bit about your background and tell me about why your latest venture is taking advantage of big data. What does big data mean to you, I should say?
Okay, fair enough. So Origami is my third startup. I started my career in digital intelligence, being surrounded by data. They didn't call it big data then. It was always about making sense of very large, separate scale data and trying to automate the making sense of the data, finding the insights by applying data science and analytics. Throughout my career, it's always been about the value of data, either transporting it when it was part of the networking industry, and making sense of it, which is part of the intelligence career that I've had, and downstream, when looking at the next big thing that I wanted to pursue,
right.
Alongside with my co-founders, we felt that big data is essentially a monumental tectonic level shift in the industry. It will change many things about enterprise software.
Right.
More than anything else, it will ultimately, when its full promise is delivered, will allow business people to directly make sense of the data that matters to them and become data driven. And in our minds, it's about that, in case of what we're focusing on, which is the marketing universe, it's helping marketers make sense of the wealth of data that they have in and around them.
Very interesting. So tell me something. What did you go to school for? Was it data, numbers, or was it something else? You're going to tell me you were an English major or something.
No. Yes, you're right. So it's math and computer science. So
okay.
not very surprising.
Now, did you imagine, though, 10, 15 years ago, that there'd be something like big data making such a difference in what you'd be doing from a career standpoint?
Not really. One thing I'll say that there are various types of technology that governments would typically apply,
Sure.
that at times take a while for them to mature to the point of finding their way into the commercial environment. So folks who've been in industries or in government agencies similar to the one I've been part of, would say, what, some of the things we've done back then, they didn't call it big data,
right?
But relative to those days, very much was big data,
right?
But the impact, and I think that everyone is talking about, is actually underselling the true opportunity around big data. I think will be even more fundamental and foundational than anyone is talking about.
And have you given thought to the security concerns with using big data? And what's your take on the risk and how much of your time as an entrepreneur using big data in your business has to be focused on how to protect the data?
Yeah, so I think there are two different things that when people talk about security and big data that matter. One is definitely when it is marketing data and customer data that folks are using, there's huge sensitivity around privacy and maintaining security of the data on behalf of the customers and the audiences. For those who own the data are essentially really own the data, and those who use the data are really the stewards on behalf of those folks. So how do they respect the privacy of people? So there's a lot of I think work going on around, on one hand, underlying security, secondly, privacy policies that make sense to the end users and to the businesses that want to monetize about from the data.
Right.
Secondly, in terms of underlying security per se, depending on the vertical that you operate within, some industries are more regulated and require more security all the way down to the encryption at the data at rest and encryption data in transit and so on and so forth. In our particular case, it's a key consideration we're building.
Right. That's certainly across the board. So there's actually a fun big data question we're asking everybody we talk to, and that is this: if big data were a rock and roll band, what band would it be?
It's interesting. I don't know, maybe the Beatles, because I think they're groundbreaking and really
very cool.
represent
Okay.
like this huge shift in how popular could rock music be.
Right.
Pioneers. I think they were like the opening shot maybe of this new era of music, and I think big data will present for enterprise software as big a phenomenon.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today.